Hello adventurers, today let's deep dive into the biggest map and arguably the prettiest map out of the two currently available in Dungeonborne, the Clouseau Castle. You can really feel the space and the change of environments in this map with a lot of different buildings and a lot of hidden passageways. The mobs are very different inside the map. You have free variation too, as we will see later in the video in terms of PvE. And it was originally designed to be a solo map, however now you can enjoy it in trios as well. The loot on this map is much worse than in Sinner's End, as you have probably already experienced. You will get a lot of greens, sometimes blues, but rarely some purples inside normal mobs. It's important as well to consider the fact that you have only one boss on the map, which is the Cyclops, and in my personal experience, I've never gotten any legendaries from it, or and sometimes even blues inside the high roller version of the map. And it serves the purpose of PvP oriented in a way, because you're not here to loot, you're more here to fight other players and loot their bodies to make some money on this map. Now, even if the loot is much worse than Sinner's End, you have a lot more mini bosses compared to the other map. First of all, because it's like 4 times bigger than Sinner's End, and those mini bosses can give you actually and have a chance to drop legendary loot. So if you're looking to get those legendaries, arguably this map could be really profitable for you if you find the correct pathways to correctly kill every single one of these mini bosses. One of the struggles and the main criticism about this map is the fact that you have a lot of elevation points that makes it easy to fall into traps and to quickly die without being able to put up a fight. And this weakness of the map is also what makes its beauty, because you can get a lot of nice landscape views, kind of, if you stand on the top of the Cyclops area, for example. So it's somehow satisfying to get this elevation kind of feeling too. But it is what people hate about this map or love about this map, depending on the classes that you play and your own experience of the game. To start things off, we're gonna talk about the spawn points on the map, and I will try to analyze like PvP areas, PvE areas, and then we're gonna talk about mini bosses, because you want to only engage those bosses once the known spawn points around you have been cleared and you've checked if someone is here or not, because you don't want to be ganked while clearing a mob. Then after this, we're gonna talk about the different pathways that you can have if you want to only PvE, if you want to look for PvP, and we're gonna finally talk about static portals, because they can come very handy if you want to quickly escape a run because you've already killed a few people and your inventory is full, or if you're running away from a player that you absolutely don't want to fight. So as there are 3 rotations on this map, there are 3 different possibilities as well for static portals. So you now have the detailed map with all the spawn points illustrated by black flags. I've gone ahead and divided the map into 5 different pieces that we are each gonna look separately. I've made this choice because these areas are like kind of how I view the different parts of the map, with different designs and gameplays. And so we'll try to focus on every single one of those and give you some clips as well. Starting off with the northwest part of the map, in this part you have 2 different spawns, one which is elevated, which is the far right, and then one who is below, which is the far left. So you have a natural kind of power here in terms of spawn points. The one who is elevated is gonna have the high ground above you. However, let me just show you on the clip somewhere you can actually climb up, which is unknown for most players, I guess, and can enable you to regain the high ground or even surprise your opponent in this area. Other than this, nothing much to say. There is like 2 mini bosses that you can do in this zone. It's rather safe, and you can perhaps spend the whole game without any encounter in this part of the map. You then have the northeast part of the map. Here you can have 3 different spawns, and it can be very tricky because you can get easily third-partied. If you spawn in the middle, for example, and you're in between and you're sandwiched by 2 players, you might want to rush one of them, but you take the risk of the other one trying to gank you on this part of the map. It is rather safe if you don't have any spawns here, which is possible, or just one. You will just have one combat and then you can spend the whole game there trying to loot and stuff. So it is a rather like safe area, like the northern parts of the maps. They're pretty chill in terms of PvP. You only have the werewolf here that can spawn depending on the variations as well. But other than this, it's a pretty chill, kind of balanced spawn as well. You're just unlucky if you spawn in the middle and you have 2 other players spawning around you. What I suggest you to do is just try to run away, basically, and wait for them to either engage or just make sure that no one is gonna third party you, and try to close the combat as quick as possible, sorry. Nothing much to say about the center west part of the map. You just have a single spawn here, probably the safest spawn possible on this map. You can't be spawn rushed here. You can safely clear mobs, stack some stats, and loot some stuff. You also have one of the mini bosses on the south, which is one of the safest ones too, just because the players around you can't really join this area very fast. So overall, it is a very PvE area. You won't see much players around this part. However, keep in mind that on the southern part of this section, you will encounter possible players coming from the Cyclops area that we're gonna talk about a bit later in the video. Now I'm gonna take a little bit more time to talk about the center east part of the map because it is very complicated. It is a 2-level kind of map. A little bit more complicated than the other areas. You can have up to 5 spawns here. Some spawns are very safe. For example, the top right, you spawn at the top of the tower, so you have the natural high ground. You have some mobs that you can kill to stack some stats fairly easily. And if you get rushed, once again, you have the high ground, so you have the advantage. So usually this one is the safest. And then on the other hand, you have the worst spawns, which are the ones near the werewolf, just on the north part. You spawn basically down, and then you have to go up, so you have a natural disadvantage. However, you can't really be spawn rushed apart from the... maybe if players know their spawns, maybe you can be spawn rushed, but you're not like visible to the other players, so it's rather safe. And then the one on the most south spawn is quite safe as well because you will see the enemy incoming. It's not a direct high ground advantage. The players will be able to see you before you will be able to see them eventually, but you're rather safe. Just keep in mind where people spawns, keep an eye on those spawns while you clear, and you're gonna be safe. Then you have the spawn inside the room, which gives you the choice to either go into the northern part of the map, which has like 3 different spawns, or you can engage in a rather early skirmish inside the corridors here. So it's really up to you. And then you have the one on the left, which is kind of the one that gives you the most a view overall. Like you can see if players spawned far away, you can see if players could be on top of the towers by just listening to the sounds. This one as well is quite safe. Now the whole south part is basically like the PvP side of the map. You have so many spawns here and so many opportunities for early skirmishes here. It's a very stressful area. As soon as you spawn there, you should be aware that people are nearby. So when you engage on monsters, you will make some noise. So I recommend you, if you start on the low ground, it's a general rule of thumb, but if you start on the low ground, just keep an eye on the high ground and try to take the high ground as quickly as possible. just to see where players are and to not be at a disadvantage or be surprised by players coming up to you and having the high ground, especially against classes with high range like Pyromancer, Cryomancer, or Swordmaster. If they get the jump on you, it's basically over all the time. So the general rule of thumb is just to take high ground as soon as possible. So once the early game is passed and you maybe had like an encounter, always be aware in this part of the map about the Cyclops area. It is a beloved spot for Pyromancers, Cryomancers, or even rogues now with the new perks. Are loving this place because you can see so much of the map and you can always get the jump on somebody on different spots. So if you come across this area, if you need to rotate because you don't have a choice, you really keep an eye above yourself and try to sneak into the castle if you can, below the Cyclops, so you can't have a direct line of sight with the people above you, or just try to generally avoid this area. If you can come from the eastern parts to the south is the safest positions because you won't have people that can be easily camping on top of you. Okay, so now that we have seen all these different spawns on the map, you've probably already noticed that most of the PvP that you're gonna encounter on this map is gonna be located on the southern parts. So to talk about PvP paths, if you start up north, for example here, I would first check if a player is here through the passage that I showed you, and then after this you can navigate either through here, which will be longer than going south. So if you want to only PvP and you're starting here, I recommend you to go all the way south. Then this area can be skipped as well. Then you arrive in this part, you want to check the Cyclops area, then you check all the southern spawns. And after this, what I usually do is that I transition through the secret passage that I showed you on the tips video, if you want to come back to it, and then go to the center east part to catch potentially other players here, either from the southern spawns first and then for the upper spawns as well. Now a second PvP path that you can always take is the south part. If you start here and you've cleared already all the spawns here, you can already go to the north, and after you go north you can go into the different rooms there that I showed you with some clips, and then go straight to the south. And then once you've cleared up there, you can maybe come back to the southern spawns, because maybe the players who spawned on the borders, for example here or here or here, are gonna try and gather around these different parts, so you can always do this. So it's the easier transition path where you have the least PvE, and you will maximize your chances to encounter new players, spawn players here. Now to talk about the PvE paths, you want to avoid by all means the southern parts. So if you start on the north, what you can try and do and skip the spawns and go through this passage here. If you're unlucky and there is a spawn here, you can always try and chill in these parts and see what this player is doing, if he wants to go south, if he wants to go north, and wait for him. But you want to try and get as fast as possible to the northern parts. This is where you have the least chances to encounter players. Now for the paths, it already depends on the variation. We are seeing the first variation of the map. I'll show you afterwards the 3 different variations. But the common things that you want to do is always try and be aware of every spawn nearby and try and avoid the possible pathways that those players can do. And basically the safest part of the map is right there. So if you start south, you should try and navigate through the northern parts as fast as possible. Maybe you will get one fight on your way there, but then you want to chill in the outer parts, in the northern parts of the map, sorry. Now to talk about the mini bosses on this map, I will start by circling in in green, the ones that are the safest, the ones that are the most unlikely to be ganked by another player. So as a quick reminder, ganking is like someone engaging you when you're already trying to fight a mob or fighting a player. So this mini boss here is quite safe. This one as well, if you get like fast enough here. This one is very safe too. This one as well. This one as well, you can always drag it into a corner and you will see everything around you, so it's really safe. And then perhaps arguably this one is also quite safe. If you can pull him towards you in a corner, you will see like all incoming possibilities. And then for the most dangerous ones, the one that you only want to engage when you're sure that the lobby is wiped or the nearby spawns are cleared, you have this one right there, here, this one, and of course the Cyclops, but it's not really a mini boss. So that's how I would view the first variation. Now let's take a look at the second variation. Now I'm gonna do the same for the second variation of the mini bosses. You only have a few changes, to be honest, compared to the previous one. Let me just show you the safest ones. So once again, this one is very safe, this one is very safe. It doesn't change much here. Those ones, and arguably this one. And then for the hard ones, or the most dangerous ones, here, always the southern parts. This one as well, because if you haven't cleared the area around, and if player rotates, they have easy advantages on you in terms of terrains. So yeah, that's it for the second variation. Let's move on to the third. And so finally, for the third variation of the map, I'm gonna circle the safest ones, as always, those ones. As you can see, this variation has the least amount of mini bosses and also the same type as well, which is the werewolf. And in my personal experience, the werewolf is kind of the worst mini boss in terms of loot that you can get from them. So it's always the same. I would say that this one is quite safe, sorry. And finally, this one. Now to quickly shout out the website here, this is where I got all the maps from and all the different spawns from. I will link you the website in the description, so thanks a lot for all the people that made this possible. So to talk about finally and to close up this video, I will talk about the static escape portals. So now, before the most recent patches, you only had one of the two static escape portals. Now you have the two of them. So for the first variation, you have one in the center of the map, just north part of the Cyclops, and then one near the headsman on the south. Then the only changes will be on the south east part instead of the southwest part for the static portal. And finally, for the third variation, you're gonna be having one really up north and one on the south as well. Congratulations for making it until the end of the video. If you liked it, consider leaving a thumbs up. A thumbs up really helps me out. If you have any questions, consider leaving a comments. I will try to answer to them all. And see you in the next video. Bye.